What's going on, everybody? So, as you know, we've been hyping it up this week. We have a very special guest here today. Now, Tony Robbins says it's not your lack of resources that prevents you from being successful, it's your lack of resourcefulness. Another one of my mentors once told me that it's not about being concerned about getting into a business that works. It's that you make the business work. Now, our guest is a prime example of that. Now, we've heard the statistics on how businesses usually fail within 5 years of being created. Now, only as our guest achieved substantial success in his business, he's actually got help in a very unique way. Now, here's what's interesting. Back in 2016, he put together a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo with a goal of $10,000. But once he exceeded that number, he pushed it up to 15K and even exceeded that number to help launch his business and make it a success. Now, here's a little fun fact about Indiegogo if you don't know anything about it. 9 out of 10 campaigns on Indiegogo do not get fully funded. So the fact that he exceeded his goal is actually really impressive. Now, our guest here, he believed in his mission to protect and save lives. So what he did was he put together a high quality, bullet resistant body armor to provide safety for people in their everyday life. He is a CEO of Safe Life Defense in Las Vegas, and he's also a member of the notorious digital marketing mastermind War Room. You can watch how effective his bullet resistant body armor is on YouTube. I checked out a few videos, and you can also check that on his website. And it's actually very fascinating to watch. And also on his Instagram, there's a video of Chuck Liddell punching the body armor, and he's like not even fazed by it. Now, by the end of this interview, you're going to have a unique understanding on how you can use crowdfunding to help support your mission. You're going to get a unique perspective on how using video can drastically help your business in terms of marketing. And you'll feel that whatever you want to sell is also very possible for you to make a success. So, Nick, thank you for joining us here today, man.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for having me on the show. I absolutely love what you do, and it's really an honor to be here.
Awesome. So back us up a little bit, man. What first initially got you started on your journey to become an entrepreneur?
That is something that was just in me as long as I can remember. As far back as I can remember, I just remember kind of trying to find my own way to get the things that I wanted or just enjoy. I mean, the first thing I can remember was a school store that I ran out of my desk back in third grade. And I actually got in trouble because I was out selling the school store. It was kind of like a pawn shop sort of thing. I'd buy from other kids and resell it. And that was my very, very first memory in kind of being an entrepreneur. But it's just always been there.
Okay, so it's always been in terms of like that's just been who you are as a person. Now, I want to know about this because like what's very interesting is like the crowdfunding on Indiegogo. So what was your business at before you decided to do the crowdfunding? What made you decide to do that? Like walk us through that.
So there was nothing as far as Safe Life goes before the crowdfunding. At the time, I mean, I had been, lifelong entrepreneur. I kind of made some products. I had some success in nightlife hosting and a limo service, but that just really wasn't for me. When Safe Life came to me and I was developing this armor, it was kind of more for myself. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to actually go big on this. At that time, I was probably like $50,000-$60,000 in debt. I put every single thing that I had into this Indiegogo campaign, as well as my girlfriend at the time. She also backed me on that because she saw that vision. And it was really either a do or die moment. Either that crowdfunding was working or or that was, don't know where we'd be. So everything went into that for a few months.
Wow, it's really fascinating. So what happened? Did you tell all your friends? Did you tell all your family? Like, how did you get the word out to make this like successful? Did someone back you up or organization?
So there are definitely no organizations, and very rarely do friends and family fully support a new vision for something that you want to do. I've been successful in nightlife and, this limo service, and all of a sudden one day I'm like, I'm done with that. I'm doing this. And everyone just sees that it's a big risk and like, what are you talking about? You've never done something like that. You know nothing about body armor. Like, don't do that. But over time, you start to realize it doesn't matter what other people think. If you believe it and you truly feel it, and this is what you want to do, you can make it happen. I was lucky enough to have a girlfriend at the time, and still do, who loved the idea. She was and still is a writer. She helped me pull together my Indiegogo campaign video, which, by the way, was supposed to be on why can't I even think of it anymore? What was the other one? Well, anyway,
I know what you're talking about. I remember.
That was a big ordeal because I planned it for, I don't know how I'm drawing the blank, for this other Kickstarter. It was a Kickstarter campaign, and I built everything around Kickstarter. We went to hit the live button, and they go, you're selling weapons. You can't do that. And they just shut it out. That was a big freak out moment. We redid everything for Indiegogo, and that's where that turned out. So anyway, she helped me pull together all my writing, kind of help with my first real marketing attempt there. And I had a cousin, his name is Christopher Petruccio. He has a pretty large car channel called Crispy. Flew him out, and he did that video for free. So I had two people that truly, truly supported me. We pulled this all together, and then one day we finally got to hit the launch button on Indiegogo. It went out there, and then it was just go time. Like, nonstop, all day, all night, just doing everything possible to get that going. But I can thank those two people for making that successful for me.
Man, that's really incredible to have that support system. Now, with with this Safe Life defense, what made you decide to get into body armor?
I always wanted to be a law enforcement officer, or SWAT team, CIF, something. Like, that's what I went to school for. I went to school for criminal justice. I truly wanted to be a law enforcement officer. But there's just that feeling just inside of me that the entrepreneur always comes out, and I can't fight it. I don't know if it was a subconscious sort of way to get back into what I really wanted to do in a way that could merge the two, or if it was kind of luck. Honestly, it was more of a subconscious thing. Really, body armor is just something cool that I liked, and just one day said, I'm gonna make it, and I did, and here we are. Now it's my whole life.
Man, that's it's really inspiring, and to see everything come full circle and still, along the path in terms of something that you really enjoy, something like it's really cool. You made it work in your own way. Now, like, walk us through what happened after. So I'm sure while it's blowing up, you're freaking out, like, oh my God, like, we exceed our goal, and like, this is crazy. So what happened after that? Like, did you have like the business knowledge and how to, get it out there, or did you have a mentor?
I didn't have a mentor. I had these two people that supported me, and actually my cousin Crispy, he made that first video. That showed the importance of video to me, and he was kind of gone. So it was just me and my girlfriend at the time. That was my only real support at the moment. But as an entrepreneur, it's very normal to be totally on your own, or have, luckily, hopefully, one person there. It's just, you got to kind of do your thing and what you believe in until other people start to catch on, because a lot of people don't do these things on their own. They have to see something already being successful for them to get that vision. So at that time, it was just me on my kitchen table, and her helping me with writing and supporting me with bills until that came through.
Wow. Now, how long did it take from that 15K or that you made from the crowdfunding? How long did it take you for things started blowing up? Because I'm with Crispy using the video. I'm sure that because you definitely get this feeling of very professional when you go to your YouTube, when you go to your website. The videos that are created aren't like amateur videos. They're not like garage videos. They're like legit production videos. So what was that after? I was like, all right, I got to get some more production out there in terms of showing the product, right?
Yeah. So at that time, I hadn't done anything like that. So I always knew the value of marketing, but it was never something that I really did to that level. Once the Indiegogo was successful, which, by the way, we got the 15,000 on Indiegogo, but that was actually really stressful because at the time I set up a website as well. And what most people were doing is they were actually going on the website and ordering and not going through the Indiegogo page. So I'd be getting orders through the website, but those wouldn't count towards the goal on Indiegogo. So unless that goal was met, you don't get that funding. So it's kind of like it was split between the two, and it was very stressful toward the end there, kind of seeing most people going through the website trying to get this working, because that's kind of also your public perception. That was a challenge. But after that, that funded our first batch of product that we're making, and it just never stopped. So being 100% on all day, all night, through a few months of Indiegogo, really researching Indiegogo pages being my first introduction to serious marketing, really helped push forward and set a work ethic and a standard for the future of Safe Life. So Indiegogo was a great research and learning tool, and I would highly recommend someone do that. But if they do it, you got to really, really research and learn from other successful pages to kind of build your own way.
Man, that and I'm sure it's like super fulfilling to see like all those like all that time doing all that research, and that's insane. I didn't know that about like the website, and like you wouldn't get any of the funding if like less people went bought through Indiegogo. That's actually really crazy. Now, so after like the funding's there and like you're all good, like how long did it take to where you actually started to see like some fire starting to catch, like, oh wow, and people start like you started to see some real big traction and demand for your body armor?
Well, the traction happened pretty much immediately during Indiegogo, like with the website. The Indiegogo aside, the website was taking off. The Facebook page was building. That's key. Social is absolutely key to Indiegogo as well, or any crowdfunding. But it was really taking off through the website, and it's not something I expected, because I didn't think people would want to wait. At the time, it was like 10 weeks for a product that no one had ever seen. It was something that I just made, and you just see all these pre-orders just coming through every day. And at the time, my goal was 3 vests a day. I'd have a calendar, and I'd mark 1, 2, 3, and I'd celebrate, and I'd love watching it grow just on this calendar. But it just, with the dedication that I put into it, and the solid base that we had built, it really caught fire immediately, and that fire never went out. We were actually just ranked number 282 on the Inc. 5000 list as the fastest growing private company or the 282nd fastest growing private company in the country. And next year we're planning to go beyond that. It's just, if you have any fire, you just do everything possible to make sure it does not go out. Like that's key. Never let that stop.
That's wild. Now, so let's do some, because like, so you didn't have a mentor, but you did have 2 people that really supported you through this, and then things were catching on fire. Now, when did you start to like think like, okay, well, like how did War Room come on your radar?
War Room is something relatively new, I guess. We've been members there for about a year and a half. My team, within the 2 years from the Indiegogo campaign, we grew to probably about, at that time, I think like 12, 13 people. And marketing is everything. We heard about this conference called TNC Summit out in San Diego. We booked tickets. We all went out there. Actually, myself, my marketing team, and my COO, and we loved it. We absolutely loved it. While they're on stage, you have I know you know of them, Roland, Perry, Ryan. They're pitching War Room as this premium networking, a very elite group of networking, and they really were able to show its value and really explain how amazing that would be to be in. And by the end of the conference, we found Perry. We talked to Perry, and we're like, hey, we got to sign up. Like, we want to sign up. They told us all the requirements, which at that time, we had met, and we immediately signed. Myself, my girlfriend, who helped me from the beginning, and who's now my marketing director, and Andrew Sabatino. We joined, and we go to everything we possibly can. It's an amazing group.
Yeah, that's really inspiring, because that's actually a really big goal of mine, to be part of War Room because I see like I know that the most successful people are connecting and they're talking with her, and the thing is like it's always like it's a win-win relationship. You know, it's always give, 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 and how much can I help you out? And I know once you start getting to those higher levels in business, it's great to get perspective from other people who also have those who went through what you went through in a sense, right? Like it wasn't an easy path. They can understand you, they can speak your language, and man, I just know that's definitely the place to be. Now, with like with joining the War Room, what do you feel like has been like the biggest like has helped you out like the most with your business?
That's that's a really hard question because every time you walk into a war room meeting or even sign on Facebook and you're in the war room group, there's so much valuable information, so many connections that just can change your life. It's hard to really pin it down to one thing, because you never know that just the slightest interaction can change your life, your entire mindset, and your future. So it's really hard to pin down. One of the most recent things though that really caught me is a was an intensive run by Roland Frazier about how to scale up at the next level. Once you have a really successful business that's running well, you can start really growing by acquiring other businesses, rolling them into your company, getting vertically integrated, things like that. And that, I think, even though we haven't acquired anything yet, we're trying it. That was a life-changing kind of seminar that I went through with Roland, and it's on another level that I was never even really that aware of. And now he just made it so clear. It's just so clear and just made it seem so easy that it's just something that's always on my mind now.
Oh man, so I know that like the next goals is to what is it the legs, the leverage, exit, grow,
That was the
scale.
one. That was
Okay.
the one. Yeah, yeah. That was even if we weren't at the level that we were, I recommend that anyone that has the opportunity to go to it does. It just shows what's out there. You might think that you're kind of not like getting to like a peak or anything, but it just opens up a whole new world. That just shows you you're really there's always a next level.
Yeah, most definitely. And I know that my brother-in-law, he's in War Room and he speaks very, very, very highly of Roland and everybody else that I talk to who knows Roland, like this guy's like a genius, right?
Yes.
I want to know like in terms of like productivity, right? Like because it can be tough for like when we're in the day to day, especially like younger entrepreneurs like myself. We are breaking in. We don't have that big business success, so we're looking for like sometimes it can take very long time, and sometimes we can get a little discouraged, and we have our doubts and uncertainties. Now, like what keeps you on track? Like when you were coming up, like what do you do that keeps you productive and like kept your head on straight and just having that full belief that you were gonna make it?
So I think the number one most important thing when being an entrepreneur to stay on track and to make sure that you're going to make what you want is to only do what you love. I don't think that an entrepreneur should ever force a business that they think is a good idea that they don't absolutely 100% love and enjoy doing. I mean, I basically am working all the time, but it never feels like work. I enjoy every moment of what I do. I love building this business. I mean, this is what I do for fun, right? It's my life and everything, but I see it as fun. I enjoy it, and I think that that's the biggest key. I couldn't imagine going to work or even running my own business and just not being into it. I don't know how I'd stay productive. It's real easy if it's just that's what's fun for you.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, man. Because even just from my perspective, when I've achieved like some business, because this is actually my first year in business, right? And I've had some business success, and like you still feel, even though like some money comes in, you still feel like similar to how you did before, right? Like it almost makes no difference. And like the fulfillment comes from the activity itself and actually making a difference and seeing like other people like light up and actually utilize like the thing that you have, right? So what does your day look like on a day to day? Like, do you have like, is it just like do you have like a morning routine? Do you have like 4 hours of deep work? Like, what does that look like for you?
So I might not be the best example of keeping a normal routine or a schedule. My whole life is about building and growing this company. That's that's what I do. All the money and everything else comes second. So every day I'm just doing whatever is needed that I think will help grow this the most. I do have one routine, and that's starting every day with a morning meeting on a Zoom call with our team leaders. It really helps me stay in the loop with everyone without having to interrupt them during the day, which at a certain point becomes a problem. You become more of a nuisance to people than a help. So that really helps kind of direct the company, and then I kind of bounce around to whatever has the most effect for that day. So I know that's not what most people say you should do, but that's kind of what works for me.
Interesting, man. Yeah, everybody like has their own little process they do. Like I have certain mentors. It's like, like the routine is like religion to them. Like this is what
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do. And I have others like, you know what? I go and like my brother-in-law for instance, this guy, he's like at his computer like 10 hours a day. I'm like, man, I don't know how you do that. That's actually that's actually really, really fascinating. So what part of like the business do you like? I know there's things that you like more than others, right? Like what part do you feel like you get the most fulfillment for? Like, what do you live for, like, in your business?
So that that answer is very fluid because every single role in the company I've done very, very intensely. And once it's something that I start to feel like I don't want to do it anymore, or that it's becoming a grind, at that point I feel like it's something that I've mastered to my ability, and I hire someone that I hope that is better than me, right? So the goal is to do a job, understand it fully, hire someone that can do it better than me, and then move on to the next. So I've been through marketing, customer service, sales, warehousing. All these things are something that I just do very, very intensely, and on to the next. And then once I kind of run through them all, I end up going back through them again and revamping them. That's a process I'm in right now. But right now, my favorite part of the business is really product development. I love the R&D process as well as warehousing. To be honest with you, it's really cool. Warehouse and factory. It's really cool to kind of go in and go into an area that's running very well, and then say, hey, why don't we just make this little tiny change, and then we see that the efficiency of that area just skyrockets. So in that sort of environment, especially in like a factory with an assembly line sort of thing, you can do such little tiny changes. Let's move this table literally over 3 inches, and in some way, I mean, I could go into detail, but by just simply moving that table over 3 inches, it saves 3 seconds per process, and we end up putting out an extra 100 products per day. Like, just seeing those instant sort of results that's so much fun.
Wow. That's actually really interesting. Like just like the little things, and even like within the factory, because I look at something like even like the marketing side, right? In that, I think that's just because that's most like my personality in terms of like making the video creation and all that stuff. But right now, like a big thing that like I like to teach, and like that we hold like very true for like success. Like I believe like one of my mentors, his name is Manny. He said, people are the shortcut to success, right? Like if you have like that, the people around you, if they're, shooting, like they're, above you or any way, like, and they can help you out, it can make a tremendous difference. Now, along your journey, even like before War Room, was there like, besides, Crispy and your girlfriend, was there anyone else that really served like a really big influence, and like, you're like, man, and like kind of helped you out along the way, or you just kind of like, you're just working and figuring it out as you go?
I think I think there were a ton of people that helped me out along the way. throughout my entire life. You learn a lot, and you from family members, from friends, whether or not you maintain that friendship. A lot of, I mean, as a lifelong entrepreneur, you get different perspectives and motivations, or people trying to discourage you in a certain way, that it all builds up over time. And even that the people that discourage you, that get scared and feel like, that can't happen, learning to listen to their criticisms and feedback, but throw it out the window and say, "You kidding me? Like, no, I know this can work. I'm going to do this anyway." That's something that's really important to learn, and to build confidence in yourself, because then when it does work, they come back and say, "Oh wow, like that's amazing. You're so lucky." Like, no, get out of here. Like, this has been planned. So every single interaction that I feel that you have on a daily basis affects us more than we expect. So I didn't really have that mentorship or anyone to talk to until War Room. But I don't think you have to have someone like that if you can build your confidence and learn every day, and just make sure you stay on your path and don't get discouraged just because other people are saying they couldn't do it. The only reason they can is because they say they can, in all honesty.
Absolutely. Like it's that mindset, right? You believe you can, or you believe you can't. Either way, you're right. Either way.
Absolutely. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy all the time. And, that's the only thing stopping people. A lot of people say, "Oh, I want to start my own business. I want to start my own business." Well, why haven't you? Like, you can sit down after work and just build a website. Go on Wix.com, build a website. That's how I started doing these things. And I would do it for fun. Next thing you know, sales are coming through. It's building. Like, oh, this is fun now. Like, you can totally do it for like $3 a month. I don't think there's any reason that anyone should be that scared to do it. Like, you can do it at a pretty low risk sort of way.
Yeah, especially today, like with things being online, you don't have to open up a brick and mortar business or anything like that. You can really get started for something very inexpensive. And one thing that I'm noticing, and I actually really like, it's really awesome, sounds like your way of making things happen, just like, oh, you have an idea and you just run with it. Like, I think a big thing that even myself, have challenges with is like when we have an idea and it's like, all right, like that sounds great, right? And like, okay, well, who's a person who like created a course on this or something like that, right? Or like an event that can help you out, or a book that you like, digest first. Like, did you also like, are you an avid reader as well, or are you just like action, figure it out and adjust?
It's definitely an action and adjust, and it drives people absolutely insane. Because someone can say something, or I can see something that will inspire me, and all of a sudden it's just absolute hyper focus on that. Well, you could do this and this and this, and then like get on the computer, start knocking it out, and just start building websites. Be like, what are you doing? Like, we were just talking about this like a couple of minutes ago for like fun. Well, no, like this is a good idea. Like, we can do this, and like I don't know how it works, but can learn afterward, right? I'm not a very big supporter of the starting a business with a 5-year plan and writing all these things down and trying to come up with all that. In my mind, that's hold you back more than anything, because when you start a business, you can't plan 5 years out. I still can't plan 5 years out. Things change too quickly. So I see it as take action, build it, and go from there. And that's really how I've always worked.
Dang. So it's just like, what's important now? Let me just do that thing, and just, we'll figure the rest out as it comes along. Right.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, there's some big things that you need to plan for a little bit ahead of time, but especially at a startup in 5 years, no way. I think if you're running a successful business, things are going to change too quickly, and you need to have the agility, and you have to be able to hit things as soon as they happen. Planning things and forcing things to go to plan, most of the time I think will really hold back your growth. And you asked earlier, and I don't think I asked your question, what do I live for? And it is growing and building the business. That is everything to me. Everything else that comes from that as well, financial freedom and all that sort of stuff, that's secondary to just wanting to build and grow things.
Wow. And for you, like that's very, very fun, and that's very fulfilling. And Then it's like that's like your purpose. That's actually really interesting. Um, Now, like a huge thing, right? And I think you've already answered this. I don't even know why I'm thinking about asking this. Because like here's the thing, right? Because I know that uh, a big hindrance to like progress is I see a lot of people want to keep options open while they're working on something. So like, oh, I want to build a business, but I also want to make sure I maintain this, and I also want to make sure my social life's okay, and I also want to, like, when you go all in, what does that look like for you? Because I know you're obsessed, and like I'm sure like you don't have like that problem in terms of like feeling so guilty in terms of like cutting out everything else while you work on this thing. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I truly believe that when you have no other option, you're gonna make it happen as long as you want it to. I mean, like Safe Life and then Indiegogo. If that didn't work, I don't know where I'd be. But that kind of also motivates you, like, like, hey, if this doesn't work, I'm like really screwed here. But like I already started this. So like if I just give up, or if I don't go all in, you're kind of screwed anyway. Actually, that was a during that Indiegogo campaign. My girlfriend at the time, Catherine Myers, by the way, or Katie Myers. She told me there was one point I remember sitting there on my kitchen table, just being like, I like put so much into this. Like, should I put like this extra? Like, this is like the rest of what I've got. I remember it clear as day. She said, well, if it doesn't work, you're screwed anyway. So you may as well go big. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So just all in, and that was it. That was it. And it worked out because I didn't have any other option, and it just became what it became.
That makes sense because so your back was against the wall. It was like this is it. It's all or nothing. Like you have to make it work, or else it's like, well, this is it. This is all we got. Now with that initial like 10K or like the initial 15K, um, I'm sure you put a lot. Like where'd you put your money into like after like that to help it grow? Did you put into marketing, product?
Well, I was incredibly lucky to have my cousin who was that high level videographer who knocked that out. That would have been like a $15,000 video had I have to pay for it. So I was very, very fortunate to have that connection. The rest of it really, it was a bad move. I put it into a publicist because at the time that's what Indiegogo, these crowdfunding campaigns rely on. It seems like all these rely on like media coverage. So we hired a publicist to do that, and that was just a total waste of money. Really, it's social media is what had the largest effect, and what I wish I spent that money on. It would have been, if I could tell myself back then, that's what you should spend your money on. That's what I would have done. But social media is the number one thing I'd say for Indiegogo and crowdfunding. You build up a page, you get organic follows, and then you work on some paid. And it takes some time, especially at first, to learn how to do that. But it's incredibly powerful.
And did you do that mostly through Facebook and Facebook ads?
Facebook. Yep. It was all Facebook at that time.
Wow. Okay. And when did YouTube start coming into play?
Like YouTube advertising or like creating?
And I see that you had some stuff on YouTube as well, but like even either or. Like when did
Well,
you start putting stuff, yeah, on YouTube content on there, then start putting ads on there as well?
I still have not mastered a YouTube channel. We do very well on YouTube advertising, but a YouTube channel is it's a different beast. I think to be successful there, you need to consistently produce. Turn this off. Sorry. You need to consistently produce content, and you have to have a personality that people want to be part of. As a brand, it's a much harder platform, I think, to master. And we still haven't. We still put videos out there, but it's really Facebook and Instagram that are our largest portions. YouTube is something we need to work on.
Gotcha. Yeah, like Russell Brunson in his book Traffic Secrets, he talks about like with a platform that you have, like committing all into one platform instead of, because like a lot of people, what they want to do is they want to go like, I want to repurpose and do all these different things. And Russell said that he didn't actually, move away from Facebook until his company was doing at least, double digits, right? And like all multi-million dollars, like what was that, 8 figures? There we go.
Yeah.
So that's actually really incredible to see that. Like I'm gonna take that clip right there, right? That that you mostly on Facebook. It's like, look, you can achieve huge amounts of success just only being on one platform, and really committing to that. I know you also do the Instagram,
big time.
but yeah.
Well,
like,
Instagram is still through the Facebook platform, so you're still running the same sort of ads and things there. But Facebook has been by far the biggest driver of traffic. And once we start to really get that down, then we start branching out. But Facebook, we have a solid team dedicated to that, and it's I mean, the power of that, the way that you can target, the way that you can re-engage and everything, it's an incredibly powerful tool that's really unrivaled by anything else.
Nice. I'm really excited. I know my brother-in-law just uses Facebook ads, like that's like his blood for his business. It's like, boom, put money in there, and he gets some money out. Here, let me put this in the group. If anyone has any questions for Nick, go ahead and drop it in the comment section. In the meantime, while we have people commenting, Nick, do you have any kind of like say someone's on their journey, like they're I know you said like do what you love. Is there anything like, if any kind of wisdom that you would pass down to like the younger generation, what would that be?
Look, I do what you love is really a big message that I would put out there. But I made one post on this on Instagram when I first started my Instagram page, and it's really, we kind of covered this a little as well, is that if you have something that inspires you and that you think you love it, or you feel it, you when there's something, an idea that you have, or I don't know how to describe it, but you feel it, and it ends up consuming everything that you are. You need to make sure that you use that feeling at that exact moment, and don't say, well, I need to get this covered, and then I'll be able to do that, or, oh, I'm working, I have to focus on my job so I can pay the bills. No, like, do it then. If it's after work, sit down at that computer and start doing something right then, because if you don't, your brain will let that pass, and it'll be gone, and maybe it's not going to work, but maybe it will, and you have to do that many times. And I've gone through, I don't know, maybe like 15 businesses, but when there's one that catches and it really just consumes you, like, it's the greatest thing in the world. It really is, because then every single day is just, you're just playing. It's just you're just playing, and you're just so happy with it, and you just get to, it just becomes more than like your wildest dreams, like, and it just happens quickly. So it's just, you got to just do it then. Don't let it pass you by.
Man, I really do fall back, like endorse that as well, because there's been many times in my life in particular where it's like a say yes and figure it out later kind of deal, where it's like, I really want to do this, but I'm like, am I in the position? Like, can I do this? And it's like, no, like, we're going to do this. And then once like you get to this point of no return, what's interesting is like your brain starts coming up with answers that weren't available to you beforehand, before making that decision and jumping in. And now like, you're like, all right, now I got to figure this out. And it's actually very fun.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, in all honesty, it's like, I when I was little, I loved computer games or video games like The Sims, or like, tycoon games, where you kind of just have this blank slate, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna build a roller coaster park, and you don't know what it's gonna be, but you have your vision there, and it's just fun to build it up and see where it goes. And when you do something that it truly is fun to you, it's just like, it honestly just feels like playing one of those games. In all honesty, it's just, you just figure it out as you go. problems pop up, you solve them, everything gets better, and it's just fun. It really just becomes fun and not work, and that's what's so important, I think, about why as an entrepreneur you choose to do what you love, because I couldn't imagine it being any other way. I can't see how that would work, in all honesty. And I think that's also why you started this podcast off by saying most businesses fail within 5 years. I think that's probably a big reason as to why a chunk of those fail, because people aren't doing what they love. It's what they force.
Yeah, man. Because like there's so many different avenues that you can build your business in so many different ways, right? And some models can seem very lucrative, and but like I think about myself thinking like, okay, like that's lucrative, but I don't know, I wouldn't have fun doing that. That seems like really, like I wouldn't wake up excited to go to do that. And like the way that I see it, it's like, well, like I know that my model works in some way, like in its own form, which is building credibility, building my influence, and that's gonna take a little bit more time. But man, is it so much fun doing it in the meantime? It's so much fun creating content. It's so much fun having these conversations with people. Like even right now, like this is part of my brand or my business, but this doesn't feel like this doesn't work at all. It's like, oh, I have to do that. It's like I love the research. I love like getting to know like what made you successful. And that kind of work is like you can't put a price on it. It's just so much, it's so fulfilling. And it's even more fun like afterwards creating clips and putting that out on Instagram, and so other people can watch it, and then they can like apply what is it that was taught and help change their lives. So I really like that, man. Like really all boils down to, it's like it doesn't come down to, like, here's the big thing. Like a lot of my mentors tell me is like, it doesn't come down to like the money. It's like, if you make money the target, like it's a moving target. It's not bad to have money goals. It's not bad to, aim for something, but also like aim for like creating opportunities, like doing something that you really enjoy doing. Cause that's what it's going to come down to. Like one day you're going to have all the money you want, but it's like, if you hate doing what you're doing, like it's not going to be fun. Right.
No, exactly. Kind of back to what you were saying as well, with when you're doing something that's for fun, and even if it's not something that like that isn't the most lucrative model, if you're just starting out and you're doing it for fun, when you fail, and you will fail at things, it also makes those failures hurt much less. You didn't put months and months of planning and like, this has to work, this is I'm bank, you don't have to. It makes it more of a fun learning experience. It's how am I trying to say what I'm trying to say? Failures are easier when it's fun, I suppose, really. And if you're not doing something that you don't, if you try and do something that you don't love, and you have to plan it out and you force it and then it fails, you're extremely discouraged and you don't know what to do. If you're just having fun and it doesn't work out, oh well, I learned from that. Let's try something else, and it makes it much easier.
Man, I really like that, man. Let's take a look at some Facebook comments here. It says we have Omar. He says, "Thank you for being here, Nick." He said, "I have a question. Like it might be a little bit of a challenging question to answer." It says, "I have a question for Nick. How do you keep your cognitive biases that may be preventing you from further success in check?"
Cognitive biases. I'd like to know a little bit more what he means by cognitive biases, unless you have some insight on that.
No, not really. I don't, because we have so many. Not entirely sure what he means by that. But here we have another question. It says, let's see, have you had to stop listen to an old mentor who helped you out at the beginning? Wait, let's see. If so, how did you know that you needed to get a new mentor? I'm not sure what he means by that.
Well, I mean, for me, I never had a direct mentor, and at least not till getting into War Room. So you can really have confidence in yourself and try and be your own mentor. I mean, you don't have to have someone there telling you what to do. You can carve your own path and find your own way. I think it's just important that you build confidence so that you can trust in yourself and you don't have to have someone to rely on, because not everyone has that opportunity. I mean, where I was from, I grew up in upstate New York. It was cows and cornfields. I lived in an apple orchard. There weren't many people there for me to be a mentor. It was just making sure you stay true to yourself and doing what you truly feel you're meant to be. You're meant for.
I just came to this realization. You wrestled, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like this like really strong and powerful, like you're gonna make this happen, like no matter what, like kind of like strong mentality is definitely a wrestler's mentality. And I like one of my jujitsu coach, I remember him saying like like there was more presidents that were in wrestling than any other sport. Like as far as presidents go, do you feel that like wrestling had a really big impact on your mindset when it comes to life?
Um, I would say that sports in general did. I did soccer and baseball, all through high school, and I didn't start wrestling until my junior year of high school, or sophomore. I'm sorry, sophomore year of high school. But that was just something that just clicked, and I did it. I ended up wrestling through college as well. But I think sports in general really give you that I can do it, push through sort of mindset.
Gotcha. Awesome,
Wrestling
man.
is there is something special about wrestling too. It is. Never thought of it that way, but there's something special to it as well.
Yeah, like my coach, he was saying like it takes a special kind of person where your family's eating Thanksgiving and you get and like the kind of mental
Oh my
toughness you have
god!
to have.
No, remind me of that. Yeah, my diet would be popcorn because you just eat what the lightest food is, just something to fill your belly, not like based on anything else. Yeah, no, I try and push that part out of my memory.
Awesome. Well, hey, Nick, I do appreciate you taking the time here today, man. Where can my audience find you?
So you can find Safe Life on Instagram and Facebook, and you can find me personally, mostly on Instagram now, since my mom took over my Facebook page. But Instagram at Nick Groat.
Awesome, man. Very much appreciated, man. Have a good one.
Thank you.